Hey DevOps people, how is it going? Happy Friday everyone, and welcome RJ, welcome Sir Puffin. How you doing? That sounds great. You're having a long weekend and having plans for Monday. That's awesome. Sounds great. And RJ asking, how the heck do you switch keyboards so often and such different types? Split, staggered, non-staggered? Oh, it's just a matter of practice, I guess. I have been using my split keyboard for the longest time now, in a row, I mean, because I wanted to get acquainted with Colmac, and I have, but after about 2 months typing exclusively on the split keyboard, I was missing my other keyboard, so I put the buckling spring keyboard on my desk last weekend, and today I replaced it with the Saturn 60 that I have on my desk now, because it sounds great and types great. It's one of my best keyboards, actually, and it's one of the most unique ones. It even has a handle to carry it around. If I get someone to film me while doing it, I might actually go to Starbucks with the Saturn 60 in my hand like a suitcase, and then I'll put it on the desk and use it with my iPad or something, or with my Linux tablet. We'll see how this works. But yeah, I just like it, and once you're used to, say, an ortholinear keyboard, it's also quite easy to switch. Switching between QWERTY and Colmac is a little bit more confusing, at least for my old muscle memory. I'm pretty sure I'll keep mistyping once I get back to the split keyboard, because I also started mistyping when I switched back to QWERTY and hit F when I wanted to hit the T and things like that. And Sir Puffin wants to get a Glove 80. That's not a bad idea, actually. If I weren't actually pretty much done with getting new keyboards, I would probably also get a Glove 80, because the low-profile keys are quite amazing. The contoured design of the keyboard seems to be very ergonomic, even though I guess since I'm used to smaller split keyboards, more or less a 3x5 layout, the Glove 80 would probably be a little bit too big for my taste, and I would leave many of the keys, which are, as you say, pretty expensive, unused, and so this would be a bit of a waste of money, and so there are many reasons why I'm not going to get a Glove 80. Shawshank, welcome to the stack. Thanks for the follow. Welcome, everyone, to my office hour. I am Jochen, the Monospace mentor. I mentor people. I do DevOps courses, workshops. I run a community called the Server Room, where members can not only exchange experiences and knowledge, but also take part in community events and in workshops and things like that. So if you are interested, check out the Server Room, and maybe if you might have been considering a subscription to this channel, get instead a membership in the Server Room. It'll probably be more value for money for you, and still great support for me as well. So that's the Server Room, but today is the office hour, and the office hour means I'm only here to answer your question. Full Snabel, welcome to the channel. Exegete joining us as well. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Office hour means I answer your question, and all you have to do is go to qa.monospacementor.com, where you can leave your questions without any account, without leaving an email or other personal stuff. No spam, no nothing, just genuine attempts by me to answer your question. I'll get them on screen so everyone knows what I'm rambling on about, and we'll see if I can help you. I sure hope so. So the next hour is going to be dedicated to your questions. I haven't prepared anything. I'll just lean back, sip my coffee, and wait for something to do, and it's up to you to basically create the programming here. So yeah, office hour is always a fun way to round off the week, and I just realized that I forgot to post an announcement for the office hour stream. on my Mastodon account, so I'll quickly get that resolved. Here we go. Everything is pretty much well prepared, so things go quite quickly. And now I'm just going to wait for you to post stuff on the board. So, if you have any questions on a broad range of IT topics, be it mechanical keyboards, be it system administration, be it software engineering, maybe you have a question with regards to your applications or to other career questions, feel free to post them. I can't... Oh, there's a wasp getting in here. Let's hope she'll find her way out again. If not, if I get stung and pass out on screen, then call 911, right? Or email 911. How does this work nowadays? So yeah, where was I? Wasp, you are actually distracting me a lot. Yeah, so if you have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. And there is actually already a question. If I can find my mouse cursor, here it is. All right, here we go. So the question is, are you coming to SweTug or JavaZone? That is actually a good question. Full Snobble, thank you for asking that. No, unfortunately, I won't be going to Sweden anytime soon. The only conference I have planned for the rest of the year is going to be DrupalCon, which is going to be in September, in not even 4 weeks' time, in nice and warm Barcelona. But I'll definitely consider going to Sweden. I've never been to Sweden and I'm pretty curious how it is over there. Just earlier, I read an article about people emigrating Ireland, and there was someone who sent in feedback to the newspaper, and they said, yeah, my company closed their branch here in Ireland and offered me to work for them in their at their headquarters in Stockholm. So I moved to Stockholm, and actually it's not really much more expensive than Ireland, which surprised them and me. And they wrote, yeah, going out is a little bit more expensive, but on the other hand, the other cost of living then balances that out. And so, yeah, even people emigrating to Australia or Sweden don't seem to be turned off by cost by now, because everything has become pretty expensive in Ireland, if it wasn't expensive already. So yeah, sorry, no SweTug or JavaZone for me for the time being, but I'll keep you posted. If I happen to go to Sweden, I'll sure let you know. And here we have a pretty gnarly question. Any hints for overcoming constant rejection of efforts to improve technical excellence in a company? I could answer very quickly, yeah, get a new job. And it would sound pretty snarky. But to be honest, I think that's a valid answer. And it's a sincere answer. Because, as you say, constant rejection, it sounds to me that it's a constant source of frustration for you. You seem to be trying to improve stuff, especially from a technical standpoint, and apparently are getting nowhere. And that means you might be at the wrong place, actually. Because if this one thing doesn't work, which is already, I guess, a pretty substantial thing, there must be other things that don't work as well, in terms of your relationship to management or management's relationship to technical excellence, things like that. I can't really judge what the reasons are. Maybe you can. I have a motto that's pretty much based in Stoicism, which is love it, change it, or leave it. Which means if there is something, if you love it, yeah, great. Hopefully it stays that way. If you don't like it, try and change it. Which you are obviously doing at the moment, trying to change it. And if that doesn't work, I guess leave it is the third option here. If Exegete hadn't revealed that it was him who asked the question, I also would have added, also evaluate your own standing within the company. Because, yeah, if someone I don't know nothing about ask these questions, I have to assume it might also be an issue with their own standing. Maybe the way they suggest improvements isn't compatible with how communication works at the company. Things like that might also be a factor in the success or lack thereof of changing stuff. But Exegete, it has been a regular here for years, so I do know that I don't have to be afraid they were struggling with communicating a change in a valid, in a tangible way. So that's one of the options, I guess, that I can leave out in this case. But yeah, if you and you in the plural struggle with making changes, it's definitely worth checking out how you are communicating, and if you are communicating in a way that is helpful. And I'd like to leave you a link that I'll have to find quickly. Hopefully Omnivore will help me doing that quite quickly. I don't use the search feature for Omnivore often, and maybe it's not as great as I would like, but let's make sure I'm searching at the right place. Give me just a second, because it's really worth it. This is a great article that I read a long time ago. I should make a note of this article in my Obsidian notes. That way I will be able to retrieve it much quicker. See? Rubber ducking always helps. I do actually have it in Obsidian thanks to highlight synchronization. So let me try that. Let's see. Here we are. That was great. Let's see. Copy URL. And here we go. Where's my chat? Here's my chat. So yeah, the article is called Talking Like a Suit. And it basically covers this topic. How do I communicate technical stuff to people who might not be technical enough to work from technical arguments only? And so that's definitely something that I can recommend. That's the communication side of things. And now going full circle here, if all else fails, yeah, leave it might be the thing that you need to do for your own sake, for job satisfaction, for to eliminate a constant source of aggravation, maybe get someone as a manager or in a whole leadership that is more receptive to valid arguments in favor of technical excellence. That was a great question. Thank you, Exegete, for asking that. Then we have a question: is P equals NP? It'll take me a little bit of time to answer that question, so we'll park it for later. Then, we have a lot of process questions today. Happy to see them. How do you manage prioritizing incoming requests and feedback from customers using your software as a service, as compared to new features/fixes you find yourself? Very good question. It's mostly a business question, and I'm happy to answer that as well, because as most of you know, I'm a business owner myself. I have been running a managed hosting company for 14 years. I had other companies before that, but they all failed. I think there is a lot of value in getting feature requests and feedback from customers, because it shows that your customers have a certain amount of trust that they can help you improve your product for them. It's a little bit self-serving, of course, and that's valid. They are paying you for your services, for your products, I'd like just to point out that even the act of sending feedback and feature requests is a sign of trust, is a sign of hope, and therefore it's a good sign. And following on from that, it's a perfect avenue to communicate, to get in touch, to talk to your customers. Because you can get back to them and say, I got your feature request and it sounds pretty interesting. I'd love to find out more about it. Can we go on a call? And I'd like to learn more about your need, the reasons that triggered your request, or your feedback. And that will create even more trust, because now they know, I not only got an ACK from their ticket system, or thank you for your feature request, we've added it to the list or something like that. No, they in turn turned a request into a conversation, and that again creates a lot of trust in them. Now we are getting to the more practical side of things. What do we do with these feature requests, especially if we were able to augment them by having a conversation, by finding out what they really want to solve here? And, the old adage that the customer is king is a bit of an exaggeration, of course. You can't be subject to all the whims of your customers. Otherwise, you'll try to please everyone and will, in the end, satisfy no one. But I think they should have pretty much a little bit higher priority, especially if you are able to validate the need or the feedback by having that conversation beforehand. If it turns out that it's a valid criticism, that it's a valid way to improve your product, that it's a valid feature request that will improve things for this customer and probably for others as well, how would you not prioritize that and try and get it to work? With the caveat that improving your product is always going to mean within the boundaries of your product strategy, of course. As I said, you can't please everyone. For example, we are specialized in hosting high-performance websites based on Drupal and WordPress. So if someone else comes and wants us to host a Rails application, that's probably completely out of the question because of the very different technology. Sometimes someone comes and wants to run something else that's also PHP-based, and we tell them, well, we can probably run that on a technical basis because it's PHP, but there might be things that won't align with our specific setup that is geared to make Drupal and WordPress work highly reliable and performant, and other products that work differently might not work as well. So you can try. We won't hold you back in trying to get this application running on our platform, but there will be no official support and there will be no promises about feasibility, about reliability, or about performance. So strategy is important, but if the request that your customer came up with fits within your product strategy, your long-term goals, then by any means prioritize them and get it out, because you'll make this particular customer very happy, and probably find that there were other customers that might have had the same or similar needs as well. Whoa, that was a long question. That was a mentor monologue, which I'll have to write today as well, because Monday morning is when my newsletter goes out, and so far I haven't finished my newsletter for next Monday yet. So that's something that I'll have to write. The mentor monologue is always the main part of my newsletter, a column where I cover a specific topic that crossed my way. So Puffin added, we get feedback through tickets occasionally. We hold user groups once a quarter or so to get our engaged users' thoughts. That's brilliant. We do something similar where we reach out to our customers and hop on a call and check what are your recent experiences, what's the feedback that you can give us, and what are your plans. What are your plans for the near future? And even more process questions coming in. I love it. How can you change corporate from working on urgent things to work on important things? Oh, the old Eisenhower matrix. Let me be blunt. An organization that is always driven by external signals like urgency of stuff might be another red flag. And Full Snubble says switch jobs, which again is only half snarky. And yes, Sir Puffin, sometimes the important things, fortunately or unfortunately, get urgent too. You just have to leave them long enough. So this is another source of frustration, isn't it? It's really aggravating. And I experienced that in my corporate past too, where we were mostly driven by deadlines and incidents and other things that always came with a lot of urgency. And unfortunately, many things that would have been important to do fell off by the wayside. And if that keeps happening, not only is it annoying for the people involved, it's also not good for the health of the organization and its place in the market, because the carrot and stick thing shouldn't be what is driving you forward. There shouldn't even have to be a carrot, let alone a stick. You should have a strategy, and that strategy, of course, is the important thing, and it then breaks down into smaller important things, and those are the things that should be done. And if you have to ask, how do I change the general behavior from working on urgent things? So it's not just a one-off. I mean, if there is an incident in our hosting infrastructure, that's an urgent thing, of course, and that'll keep us occupied until it's done and resolved. But it's a temporary thing. If the only thing that gets done is urgent, I think also Sir Puffin's comment will become a tactic. If all that gets done is an urgent thing, everyone will attach deadlines to important stuff and make them urgent. And if everything is urgent, nothing is urgent, and in the end, nothing is important. So that's the best way to go out of business, I think. I still haven't answered the question, though. How can you change corporate from the other thing to the one thing? Can you? Can you at all? It's the organization that's supposed to have a strategy, a mission, a vision. While vision and mission statements are often hilarious and ridiculous, there should be something that defines some kind of purpose for the organization, that and from which we can derive some kind of a course, a direction. And if the organization itself, if leadership doesn't have such a thing, or keeps sacrificing it for more urgent stuff, it's as if they didn't have any strategy. And do you really want to work for an organization that doesn't have a strategy that's worth the paper it's written on? Keep the questions coming, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. Someone asks, how do we get more tech Twitch streamers? Become one. I'll have to take a minute to open the door for my son, who's just coming back from school. I'll be right back, and that'll give me a little bit more time to think about this question. Ooh, hey Andres, raiding us. Well, my son will have to wait in front of the door for a little bit longer. Welcome, raiders. Andres, welcome, welcome, welcome. People, Andres is the man, the myth, the legend behind Coolify, the self-hosting platform. And yeah, Exegete defends the channel. Let me defend my own channel as well. And raiders, feel free to attack the channel. I'll be right back. Because, yeah, the poor little one doesn't have to stand in front of the door for much longer. I'll be right back. nobody at the door. Strange, yeah, it's not even time. My son's supposed to get home in about 15 minutes. So again, welcome raiders. Hey Andres, thanks for the raid. I love how everyone is attacking and defending. And Dr. Marmalade and Dr. Marmeladenjunge says, I am attack RM -RF/. Don't do that, please. Shadow Arcanist says, I am root. That's not supposed to happen. Hey, yeah, so I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. Welcome to a channel that gets raided a lot at the moment. TBD Gamer, hello, welcome raiders again. This channel gets raided a lot. I have no idea why. What did I do to deserve this? Lexi, welcome. Yeah, again, let's defend the channel. Everyone who was here before, use the defend command, and raiders, feel free to use the attack command. Thanks everyone for the follows. I'm Jochen, the Monospace Mentor. I do mentorships, I do DevOps courses, workshops, and I run the Server Room, a membership community for DevOps practitioners, where we exchange knowledge, where we do community events, where we do all kinds of stuff to help each other grow in the DevOps space. And today's my office hour, where I simply sit here and answer questions. If you have any questions around the whole IT space, software engineering, system administration, DevOps, IT career, all kinds of stuff, then post your questions to qa.monospacementor.com. You don't need an email address or anything. You don't need to log in. Just post your questions there and I get them on screen. And someone earlier asked the question, how do we get more tech Twitch streamers? So I guess by encouraging people to become one. And I've been doing this for many years now, I think for 7 years now. And yeah, I still find it fun. And thanks to you, lovely people, of course. So yeah, I think we can entice people to become Twitch streamers by making streaming a pleasant experience for both the streamers and for the audience as well. Human, please, no windows here, so you can put your CrowdStrike away. Thank you for the follows. That's very kind of you. I think people will not consider becoming Twitch streamers if they experience Twitch streaming like something that only particular people can do. And that's simply by experiencing what happens on channels. If, for example, you notice that streamers get harassed or otherwise treated badly, that won't entice anyone to become a Twitch streamer. And if you feel like you can only do a Twitch stream if you have certain gear or certain knowledge and things like that, then you might also be disinclined to become a Twitch streamer. But I say there's always need to share your knowledge, because everyone has a specific level of knowledge, regardless of what level that is. And you can be sure that there are people who have less knowledge. You might not be the Kelsey Hightower of the software development genre on Twitch, but that doesn't really matter, because there will always be people who aren't as long in the industry as you are, that don't have learned the things that you have learned. And so it's always worth it to share these things. Don't put the bar too high. Fusnabel says, who is Kelsey Hightower? Just Google it. He's one of the luminaries in the DevOps space, especially in the Kubernetes space. And being a Kelsey Hightower, to have the right to do Twitch streaming in the software development genre would be a very high bar to set, and that would be silly. But I think that's basically the same kind of question as we often see. How do we get more people to contribute to open source, for example? It's simply about the experience that you perceive others having. I'll park this YouTube link for later. I'll focus on answering questions. Let's stay with the Twitch topic. Which people do you follow in Tech Twitch, and also generally, who are the people we should follow? Who am I to tell you who to follow? The people I follow are people who are entertaining on one side, who are approachable. I don't like if, for example, I try and contribute to chat and it goes nowhere. So I'd like to. I'm coming to a stream with a kind of a thank you for the follow action, Yem. With a community spirit, and there are plenty of channels that have that community spirit where you are welcomed as a noob or as a newcomer, and if the streamer seems to be competent and I have a chance of learning something, that's the icing on the cake then. But, I can shout out a few people. Let me check my own list. I am following Hey Andras, of course. Thanks for the sub, Silent Storm. That's very kind of you. Thank you. Let me check. Who am I following? There are people who... StormX Dev, welcome to the stack. There are people who are well known in the Twitch streaming community. People like Togglebit, for example. But there are also people like... Popey DC, who are very active in the Linux and open source community in podcasts and things like that. Let me see who else is in there who I can... of course, people who are part of my own extended community as well, such as Thindel, for example. Hey Thindel, how you doing? Nan Codes, for example, who is very approachable and great to take part in her streams. TBD Gamer, of course. Adam Learns Live is another very community-oriented streamer. People like these are definitely worth following. By the way, you can also upvote questions if you like them, and can prioritize them. If they are prioritized, I'll tackle them a little bit earlier. Otherwise, I'll simply pick. Sunstorm asks, do you follow DHH or the Primetime or Prime? You mean the Prime Agent, right? I do not follow DHH. David doesn't really hit any of my marks. He's not really community oriented, which is very sad because I'm part of the Ruby community and the Rails community as well. And of course, they are also very controversial. The Primeagen is really entertaining. That is definitely something he checks. That box is checked with a very thick marker. I don't learn a lot from his streams, so it's more entertainment. I also, for example, split my YouTube accounts between my Monospace Mentor account, which is very technical, very serious, and then I have my private account where I have all kinds of entertainment stuff. I think the Primeagen might be one of these YouTube channels that rather go into my entertainment account than in my Monospace Mentor account. Sciencestorm says DHH seems like two different people on Twitter and on YouTube vid interviews. Yeah, I think that's a persona that he puts on when he gets interviewed. I think on Twitter and in his blog posts for 37 Signals and also on the Rails GitHub, I think that is more the DHH that he is. But we're not here to discuss specific people. Let me tackle more questions here. I think the next question I was going to pick was, how do you think the job market is going to evolve in the next couple of years, considering everyone is crazy about AI? Also, is the follow sound the AOE 1/2 unit under attack? The follow sound, that is the scene from Jurassic Park, actually.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Which is hard to believe that a, I don't know, 14-year-old knows how to navigate an SGI IRIX system that costs $100,000. Yeah, so not so sure about that, but it's of course funny. Especially if you are a Unix guy. A longer question. How are we doing on time? Okay, still time to do. Hey, I watched yesterday's stream and saw you working with and talking about your internal Git monorepo. This completely blew my mind. I have been working with Git for a while, but never came across about monorepos. I'm very intrigued. Could you explain how you set up and work with your monorepo? It seemed like you added all your internal tooling like Chef resources to the repo. Does every tool have a specific branch, or does everything get merged into main eventually? Also, how do you work with pull requests in the monorepo? Thanks. That's an amazing question. Thank you for that, because yeah, that's one of the main things why I actually do this stream racket, and also why I tend to do my actual daily work on stream and not a pet project or something like that, or even a somehow construed project. Because yeah, I'd like people to learn from my practice, and the best way to tell you what my practice is to show you. So it's the basic principle of show, don't tell. Yeah. We have a lot of chef cookbooks that do all kinds of stuff in our managed hosting platform. Basically, for every service we run, we have one or even more cookbooks. For example, we have a cookbook for PHP. We have a cookbook for MySQL. We have a cookbook for Nginx. We have a cookbook for varnish, and so on and so on. And we have very product-specific cookbooks as well. And in the beginning, we had a Git repository for each and every one of these. And so we did very traditional version control, and it did work. However, of course, you want to have stuff that is common across all these chef cookbooks, but because you want to have a consistent process how you deal with changes and the tooling and everything. And so I thought about how can we combine the tooling with all of our cookbooks. Well, and the solution wasn't hard to find. It's simply put all of these separate projects, however you would call that, into a common shared repository and put the tooling in there once and for all, and that's that. And that's what's called a monorepo, a monolithic repository, where a lot of stuff is in one repository. And apparently the big players in the space, like Google and Facebook, even have monorepos that have all their source code. So basically they have one single repository for the whole organization, which means millions of files and tooling and everything. Oftentimes, companies even include dependencies from third parties in their monorepos to become independent. So the original repository for a third-party tool might go away, might be discontinued or something like that. It doesn't really matter if you have already integrated it into your monorepo. It'll stay there for forever, and you might choose to maintain it yourself after the third party has stopped doing so. Oh, sorry. Thanks, Exegete, for the hint. Yeah, I should probably add a timer to these citations. So, monorepos definitely have value. Of course, they also complicate things. Because now you have all kinds of projects in there that need to be managed kind of separately, because if I make a change to a specific chef cookbook in my case, I want to run tests only for that cookbook and not for the whole suite of things. And so you have to have a little bit more tooling that helps you manage this complexity. And there are tools out there like Bazel, for example, that can do that. Because, of course, all these FANG companies who are using monorepos, Swekos, thanks for the follow, also have developed tooling to deal with the complexity that comes with monorepos. And I can leave you with a link here as well. Give me just a second. What am I even... Oh yeah, I am doing the right thing. Let's see. No, I need to do this differently. Here we go. Yeah, I can leave you with my longer answer to this question. Which I gave 5 years ago at DrupalCamp Scotland. And in this talk, I introduced the monorepo approach and talk a little bit about how you can deal with these things. Let me see, this was a very long question, and does it touch other things? Oh yeah, there was a question. Does every tool have a specific branch? No. Well, yeah, kinda. If I make changes to a specific cookbook, I do those changes in a dedicated branch, and that branch, as always, should be merged into main, into trunk as quickly as possible. But it makes sense in this context to have changes to a specific cookbook in a specific branch and not to mix things, because that will make peer review a little bit harder, and that will get us to the final question here. How do you work with PRs in the monorepo? Like in multi-repos as well, just like in multi-repos, you submit your changes, they get reviewed and merged back into trunk. So many questions. We might overrun the office hour, but I'm more than happy to do so. But let me check that my coffee doesn't get too cold. All right. So there's another reference to yesterday's stream. I saw you mentioning using text files, or rather the text files SHA, for testing specific scenarios when running automation. Could you explain when you use this and how it works? All these hashes are basically checksums that change with every little change you make to a file. So if the file only changes in a single byte, the checksum will be wildly different. And that's why you use these checksums to track if you are dealing with a specific file content. Because ideally, and depending on the checksum algorithm, every content combination has a different hash, and therefore a specific hash stands for one single content combination only. And that's why I used this approach yesterday when I wanted to check if the root certificates file was actually getting updated as I expected it to. Instead of checking for specific strings that I would expect to appear in this file. The file is actually pretty big, and it would be hard to find some specific string to check that can reliably tell you that it's the kind of file you are expecting there. I simply used the checksum. I created the file as I wanted to have it. Then I generated the checksum for it, and simply by then in my tests generating the checksum from the converged file, I was able to check, is that the file that I'm expecting or is it not? And so that's a very easy way to identify specific content in a file without having to check for specific strings or something which might not actually be feasible in many contexts. I hope that answers your question. If it was too confusing, please follow up and ask another question. Someone asks, I am an absolute beginner and DevOps feels like eating an elephant. All I ask is where to start the first bite from. Yeah, so you are already used to the usual answer, slice by slice, but where to start still. There are many ways you can approach this elephant. It might actually be more than an elephant. It's more like how to eat the Titanic. I'd probably suggest something that will be beneficial for you anyway, regardless if you then go deeper into DevOps or not. Especially if you are coming from the software engineering side of things, I would say get more acquainted with deployment technology. First of all, Docker and or Podman. Podman is becoming a very viable alternative to Docker at the same level of complexity. Of course, if you want to go whole hog, eventually, of course, switch to trying out Kubernetes and things like that, which is something that I'm going to do on my stream pretty soon, because I want to try out Talos Linux, which is a Linux distribution that's specifically made for running Kubernetes nodes. So I'm planning a DevOps live stream for probably next week, where we are going to install Talos Linux on my home lab server here. And eventually, if this works out, I'll also set up a production cluster based on Talos Linux for my company, where, for example, we will run our documentation website and things from. Simply to get more practice with this particular way of deploying applications. If you are not yet familiar with Docker and or Podman, that's something where you definitely can start out, because it'll benefit you as a software developer, but it'll also help you get over to the system administration and DevOps side of things. Also, you can, of course, get inspired by stuff that's happening in communities, such as my own. Again, if you are interested in joining a community that is dedicated to the whole DevOps learning thing, the server room might be a valid option for you. It's a membership community that is very good value for money. And you'll learn a lot of stuff from people that are active there, which are many more people than just myself, who are very competent and friendly as well. Let's switch gears for a moment and answer the question. You mentioned Stoicism. Do you have any Stoic hacks that help you through the days? Certainly. Let me think, because many of these things now happen more or less unconsciously. I mentioned earlier the mantra of love it, change it, or leave it. That's definitely something that is born out of Stoic philosophy, because Stoic philosophy is basically all about identifying what you can change and differentiating it from what you can't change, and then leaving the latter part alone, and only worrying about the things that you actually have control over. I think what's really helpful is, and I'll use a word that is getting pretty much overused nowadays, it's helpful to be mindful. And what I mean by that is that you develop the ability to look at yourself from a little bit of distance, to take yourself out of the moment and analyze what's happening right now. How am I reacting to things? Am I getting angry about things that I can't control? Getting angry about that idiot in the car before me, who I can't control in any way. And if I notice that, I'll realize, okay, I'll still have to work on my stoicism if I get worked up about how people behave in traffic, or about how my kids behave and things like that. I often notice that about myself, that I could be a lot more stoic. But it's a good thing that I even notice that. And so I... even though I might overshoot in terms of emotionality and things like that, from time to time, I can at least course correct. I can step on my emotional brakes and say, whoa, 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 don't overreact. Don't take that so seriously. Your anger or frustration or disappointment says more about yourself than about the other person. And then get back to a more balanced view. So developing this kind of mindfulness of self-reflection is definitely something that's helpful, and something that helps in practice is actually, and now I'm getting into very woo-woo territory for some people, doing meditation really helps, because simply sitting down with no external distractions and just noticing yourself breathe, and that's all there is to meditation actually, helps you identify what is bothering you, what is going on in your mind, what is going on in your brain. Some people call it the monkey mind. And simply noticing and witnessing, oh, there's a lot going on in that little room above, helps you to learn more about yourself, and it'll help with identifying situations where you can improve your kind of response and reactions. Maybe I should do something around stoicism and these things as well, because that stuff actually helps in DevOps practice as well, especially if your phone goes off in the middle of the night because some database just hit the wall and you need to do something quick. I think the next question was the next one chronologically. Hi, I'm just in my final preparation for the RHCSA exam. Since it lays down excellent Linux administration foundations, what are the other technical skills you think a system admin should know? That's, if I wanted to answer that thoroughly, I will be here tomorrow. My cop-out answer would be foster your curiosity. I can't list all the skills that you might need. There are a few basic things that you can have, should have. Give me another second here. Where is it? So here's a blog post that I wrote a while ago. 5 skills a junior engineer should have. Those are definitely my recommendations in that regard, and curiosity is one of them. It's definitely worth it to curate that, because it'll lead you where you need to go. I can't tell you what to learn because I don't know what you need in your job, what you enjoy doing, all these things, so I'm not going to recommend anything here other than be curious and let that curiosity guide you towards things that are relevant for your career, relevant for your personal interests, relevant for your personal growth. And I think once you don't, or if you don't lose that curiosity, it's, I think you're good. My little one should have rung the bell by now, and I have no idea if I missed that. Let me quickly check if someone has been waiting for hours in front of the door. I'll be back in a sec. nobody there. He might actually have left again and go play with his friends or something. I'll try and have an ear if someone rings the bell. Let me see. Catch up with chat. Full Snabel shared his favorite Stoic. Yeah, Massimo is definitely great. He's one of the bigger thinkers in the Stoic space. Not a press developer. Thank you very much for your subscription. That's very kind of you. It's me, Brooks says, could you check the link you posted earlier regarding the monorepo? The current link links to an admin login of some sorts. Oh, sorry, I grabbed my own link there instead of the one that was supposed to be for you. I'll grab the correct one now. Let's see. That's this one here. Apologies. Here you go. Thanks for the feedback, It's me, Brooks. That's very helpful. All right. We are already past the 1 hour mark, but there are still questions. And if you still have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. I'm more than happy to answer them. We'll actually continue the stream after this office hour, but we'll definitely switch gears, literally, because I'm going to do a little bit of Euro Truck Simulator. But before, we have another question to answer. Hello, do you think switching from QA to DevOps is a wise career path in these times when the job opportunities are limited? I'm currently trying to improve myself in cloud and container technologies. What else can I do to strengthen my hands in terms of finding a job during the transition phase? I think switching to DevOps is a good idea because well, to put it very bluntly, many companies start running out of money, especially if they were VC funded. And other companies need to save money, basically because, the free money that was thrown around in recent years isn't there anymore. And that means companies need to save. And that means they're not going to hire new people, and they are not going to hire as much for specialized roles. By broadening your skill set into the DevOps space, which might get you from a previous software engineering role in dev to a more broad role that is dev and ops, something like site reliability engineering or platform engineering, is definitely something that companies will be looking out for, because basically they will start looking for the jacks of all trades. And even though we know that most jacks of all trades will be masters of none, it'll help you find good jobs. And you can still be a master if you aim at what I call a T-shaped engineer, which is basically a metaphor for you have a broad spectrum of skills and knowledge, however very shallow, and then the stem of the T is where you have a lot of expertise. So there are one or just a few topics where you are really, really good and really, really experienced, and that's the stem of the T, but you also have a broad skill set when it comes to software engineering, to design patterns, to system architecture, to system administration, to deployment, all these things. And being able to maybe grow another stem eventually will definitely help you too. We won't have, at least not in the Latin alphabet. Is it the Latin alphabet? There's no letter that would fit that. You'd basically get pie-shaped, but in the Greek sense. If you have two stems there. But yeah, let's not become too silly. Human Please says that only comes with age. Yeah, it'll of course require time. But if the question is, should I go from QA, which is still a pretty specialized job, to DevOps, which is a much broader range of topics, I would say that's a good idea. It won't come overnight. I'm not going to claim that that's an easy thing to do and that you just take a DevOps course and then you'll be the most employable person in the world. You definitely need that experience, that T stem, but you'll definitely have an advantage over people who are only software developers or are only system administrators. And in terms of what you can do to strengthen your hand, yeah, it's actually put in the time to not only learn theoretically, but also practice stuff. And that's where having something like a home lab or some kind of infrastructure where you can set up stuff, try things out and tear them down again will come in handy, definitely. All right, that's our questions so far. If you have some final questions, there's still time to post them to qa.monospacementor.com. No Depressed Developer says, that was my question. Thank you very much for the answer. You're more than welcome. That's what I'm here for. And again, thanks for the subscription. So yeah, my coffee is not yet completely empty. We'll go until I've emptied that cup, and then we'll wrap things up and switch over to doing some trucking. Human Please asks, what truck do you drive in the truck sim? I drive a Volvo FH Globetrotter with a 600 horsepower machine. I think I just upgraded from a 12 gear transmission to a 12+2 gear transmission. But actually, I don't care. I'm running the truck on automatic transmission anyway. Not because because I can't do manual transmission. I drove a manual transmission for decades, but because I'm too lazy. Human Please says, I always wonder how those work. Watching some YouTube videos about it just confuses me. I actually don't know how these work either. I'd be interested though, and I might actually scour YouTube about it. Just as I did, and now we're getting squarely into ETS territory. I talked about yesterday, when was it? A Wednesday night, when I did my first ETS stream. at all. I talked about how I learned what a retarder is, because that's, of course, not part of a common car. It's only built into trucks. And it was interesting to learn that there is more than one technology built into trucks that can slow them down. All right, final call, as we say here in Ireland. Final call. If you have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. Otherwise, we'll wrap things up and do a change of stage. There's another question. Do you have runaway truck ramps in Europe? I have no idea what a runaway truck ramp actually is. But we'll cover that later in the ETS stream. I guess here's our final question for today's office hour. Another question regarding yesterday's stream. You mentioned you weren't sure about Chef's future and think about maybe switching to a different technology at some point in the future. If I remember correctly, you said something about switching from Chef to Kubernetes. Aren't these completely different technologies that serve different goals? They are. Yeah. And I can see how this was confusing. So I'll explain a little bit how I'm thinking about this. As I said, my company runs a managed hosting platform for Drupal and WordPress. So we are a very small competitor to companies like WP Engine or Platform.sh. And so far, almost everything that happens on our hosting platform is controlled via Chef. Not only the basic setup, but also automation like the setup of newly added websites and things like that. So setting up new virtual hosts, setting up new databases, all these things, complete with access permissions, passwords. Everything is actually controlled by Chef, which is nice because we have one central tool that does everything basically. And now that after 14 years we master this tool, it's of course very convenient and we can do a lot of things. However, of course, there are many things where Chef isn't really designed for them and might actually not be the optimal solution. As always, there's no tool that can do everything well, equally well at least. So how does Kubernetes come in other than being the totally hype technology even today, and has been for many years? The thing is, our main purpose when you look at it is to host websites. And of course, Kubernetes is a great way to host websites, especially if there are many websites, because then you have the economies of scale. It's really worth investing into running a Kubernetes-based infrastructure if you have to run thousands of websites. And even though Kubernetes will also not be able to do everything we need, it will be a great base technology that we can use to cover 80+% of our infrastructure needs, because I mean, most of these hundreds of Linux servers we run are, of course, for running websites. There are also database clusters and other stuff, memcached instances, SSL offloaders and things like that. But I mean, the majority of services and resources go into running actual PHP code. And Kubernetes will be able to do that very well. And that's what I meant, that we've been thinking about switching to Kubernetes for years. But of course, it's not that easy. And we we do our best to resist the urge to switch to a different tool willy-nilly, because that will mean that we probably will have a transition period where everyone suffers. The people on the old platform will suffer because we can't pay as much attention to the old platform anymore, and the people on the new platform will suffer because we don't master the new platform as well as we do the old one. And so that might be a crisis point where we lose all our customers for one reason or the other. And of course, that's something we want to avoid, which is why we are still running Chef to this day, and which is why I still invest time to maintain our Chef-based technology. Because we'll probably be running it for an extra while, even when we manage to introduce Kubernetes into the mix. There will be probably a very long transition time where we smoothly transition over bit by bit to a new design that's based on a distributed system such as Kubernetes, or maybe Nomad or something like that. We'll see. And still maintain the old Chef-based infrastructure. And maybe there will always be remnants of Chef-controlled infrastructure, because it'll be better suited for those particular tasks than Kubernetes ever will. We'll see. I'll keep you posted, and you'll be able to witness it on my live streams. Okay, final question for today. What is your advice for freelance full-stack developers that need to pick up DevOps processes to stay relevant in the current market? I'm not sure what the question is here. Because sounds like you're answering your question yourself. You need to pick up DevOps processes to stay relevant in the current market. And those processes might actually depend on which part of the market you are targeting. But DevOps, in terms of spanning the whole value chain from idea to running stuff in production, is basically what you want to do to stay relevant. If you can cover this whole value chain, then I think you're well positioned in the market. All right, that's it for today's office hour. Oh, I'm a little bit drained myself. Answering questions for 1.5 hours is a challenge. Human Please says, thank you, that was my question. You're more than welcome. Those were all great questions. Thank you, everyone, for asking these questions. Without you, this particular stream would have been very, very boring and basically a waste of time for everyone involved. Yeah, thank you for that. This was a lot of fun, and I hope it was helpful for you. Now, how do I transition to now the trucking stream? I think I'm going to take a short break. I'll get myself something else to drink, because this will be my last sip of coffee. I'll switch to my water bottle now. And after the break, we'll do a little bit more Twitch time, but with me behind a steering wheel instead of a keyboard. Thanks, everyone. I'll be back with more DevOps topics next week. Maybe you'll stick around for the trucking stream. If not, thank you for stopping by. Have a great weekend. And until either later or next time, take care. And we're back under a new category. Welcome, everyone, and welcome back to the mother trucking CTO. Not in the office anymore, or if at all, my office is now the cabin of a Volvo F8 Globetrotter. And so let's get this show on the road, literally. Oh, let me answer that question first. Human, please ask what's that red blinking thing in the background? That thing in the background is a PDP-11. It's a PDP-11 at, I think, 2/3 scale. PDP-11 is a mini computer from the 1970s and 80s. Actually, Unix was developed on a PDP-11. And this one is a replica, and it's of course called PDP-11 because it's driven by a Raspberry Pi, but it has the original front panel. And so these blinking lights and switches aren't just for cosmetics. Like with the original PDP-11, those lights actually show state of the computer. So you can use it to display register contents or memory contents, and you can use the switches underneath those blinking lights to enter actual octal values into memory. And that was pretty not only useful but also necessary when these machines started out, because they did not come with software. There was no way, there was no technical way to actually build in read-only persistent memory like we have with ROM chips nowadays. When you switched on this machine, when it came from the belt, it didn't do anything because there was no software in there. It didn't have what we have with the BIOS now. It wasn't able to boot because for booting you need software. This software needs to be built into the machine, otherwise you'll switch it on and there wasn't anything. And in order to read from mass storage like paper tape, magnetic tape, or later hard disks, you need software. So you need software to read software, and there was no bootloader. No, human, please. There was no bootloader. There was nothing to read the bootloader from, apart from the fact that the early PDP-11s had core memory, and core memory in that regard is meant in terms of hardware, because this memory was built out of teensy tiny small donut-shaped magnets. Magnetic cores, and there were wires running through these cores that allowed the machine to read out the magnetic state of these donuts. And since magnetism doesn't require electricity to stay, once you had something in core memory, you could actually switch off the machine and switch it on again, and it would pick up where it's ended up when you switched it off, because the core memory was still there. However, you still had to solve the original bootstrapping issue, and you did that using these lights and switches. So there are switches underneath here that you can toggle on and off. And by toggling them on and off, you could actually enter software. And what administrators would do is they would toggle in a very, very minimal bootloader code. Just a few bytes would take them probably less than 5 minutes to enter that. They would enter the code that was sufficient to read software from the paper tape reader. And then they would put in a paper tape that would then contain a more complex bootloader that, for example, could then access a magnetic tape drive, where it would then actually load the operating system. Interestingly enough, the Linux boot system works still in a very similar way, where there is a very minimal bootloader that is less than 512 bytes that then has enough intelligence to actually read a file system, which is usually an ext2 file system still, if I'm not mistaken. Then it reads the actual later stages of the grub bootloader, and only then the grub bootloader then carries on and loads in the Linux kernel. So our technology nowadays is still pretty similar to what they had back in the day, when they had to solve the problem that a PDP-11 couldn't boot because it didn't have any software to do that. Okay. That has nothing to do with our current job, which is actually to drive a bunch of fresh flowers from Spain to Austria, all through France, and then Italy, and then Austria. And that's what we're going to do today. And to answer the other question, the wheel that I'm using is a Logitech G29 wheel with paddles. I don't have a transmission lever, but as I said, I'm using automatic transmission anyway. Yeah, it's a very long drive. Originally, it was about 36 hours. And it'll get me 84,000 euro. But we need to get there in time, so let's get on the road. All right, we need to rest first, so let's get some sleep. Now it's night. Let's get started. Oh, my wheel is... Now it's okay. It's definitely good money. It'll get me almost another truck. Imagine having Claude work for a side hustle dev job on a laptop next to your seat, all while trucking. Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Just like I'm trucking on the side while doing my DevOps day job. Does my truck have radio? Yes, it does. You're right, we need a little bit of entertainment here. Let's get that door closed. And let's go with Highway 181. I'm not sure about the VOD. You might actually be able to, yeah. And by the way, if you have any follow-up questions to the stuff that we were discussing earlier, feel free to join our Discord and ask there. So let's head to Montpellier. Oops. That was basically a crash. I saw the truck in the side mirror, but I thought they were on the other lane. Sorry! That White Seat did quite an aggressive left pass. Well, they might have. The AI in this game is often pretty suicidal. The right lane is not an exit lane, is it? So let's drive properly here. I'm allowed 90, but I usually drive a little bit below. Because that will allow me to also... Oof. I'm a little bit off today. Oh, I think I took the lane a little bit too aggressively myself. That's never happened before. What's happening? What's going on here? Oh, I'm running into a... Is that... Are you serious? I thought that was the one where I could simply drive through. It's the sign. Sorry. Oh, man. This is embarrassing. Dear me. Maybe it wasn't such a great idea to actually publish this on stream. Trucking fails. Let's see. The sign! I didn't think of the sign! Well, at least I didn't do too much damage to the sign or my truck. Poor lighting conditions. Yeah, I'll thank you for supplying me with an excuse. Well, it might be things like that that will cost me a lot of money in the end if I don't deliver on time. I can actually simply switch cruise control back on, which comes in so handy on these long trips. It's funny how I found this game, because I usually don't have much time to play games, and I used to use most of my playtime playing World of Warcraft with my guild. But World of Warcraft was... I got more and more fed up with World of Warcraft because all the mandatory grind felt like I got another job that I was actually paying for myself. So I decided to stop playing with at the end of the previous expansion. And I tried a lot of games, jump and runs, adventure games, all kinds of stuff. What's this there? I guess we'll have to find a different route. Yeah, I tried a lot of games, but nothing stuck. Until I found Euro Truck Simulator 2. And now I am actually playing a game that is actually another job. I find that pretty ironic.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Euro Truck Simulator is doing that thing again where it'll guide me back onto the original lane, which is of course totally useless. The problem is there is simply no other way except if I drive back and up north. Oh dear, that's a huge detour. How am I supposed to deal with that? Except cheating and exiting the game and starting it again. I try to take this game pretty seriously, because I think that's the fun. It's a simulation, and I'd like to take it as such. So if there is if the highway is blocked off, I'll usually try and find a different way, but I have no idea how I'm supposed to do that in this case. That's the first time this happens, where I actually don't have any other valid option. Oh. Okay. 20 hours left to do if I could stay on track. Let's see. How much time do I have for my current job? How do I get more information about that? I guess I'll have to go back into the game and go here. So I have 47 hours. If I have a few more hours, then that doesn't really make much of a difference. So yeah, I guess I'll go through here. Nope, that doesn't work. I'll probably have to go through here and then here. But then it'll take me up north through France and Germany. It's based on real roads. Yeah, that's correct. But everything is very condensed. So 3 minutes in real life are 1 hour in game. So you'll drive along the motorways, but you'll make jumps, which is quite easy to notice when you are going through France, for example, where in real life you would hit a toll booth every hour or so. But in game, it's actually every few minutes, which gets pretty annoying after a while. If we are going north anyway, I actually don't have to force it to go down here, actually. So this would be 25 hours. If I take this off, we'll take 24 hours. We had 40-ish hours in total, so that's still fine. Yeah, let's turn around and then go north into France, and then through southern Germany, and then over to Austria. Sometimes you need to help the Navi system because, yeah, this way I think you saw the flower petals. It would have just taken me through all exits and then back on the original direction, which would still have been blocked.
Drive safe.
Toll booth simulator, yeah, pretty much. Sorry. 1 a.m. At least it's pretty quiet on the road. What's going on here? Okay, just... one lane blocked.
And then exit right.
And now we're going up north, I think. Whoa. That retarder is pretty aggressive. Yeah, as I said, the AI is sometimes pretty suicidal. The other day, I already had to brake not to crash into one of a number of cars backed up by a building site or something. And when I was about 5 meters away from the car in front of me, another car came from the right and crashed in between of us.
At the roundabout.
So yeah, that was pretty strange.
Exit now.
Yeah, manual transmission with 12 or so gears.
Go straight on.
That clutch has its work cut out for itself. I do have a clutch pedal, but I'm not going to use it much.
At the roundabout. Take the second exit. Exit now. ground.
Why are we going through Montpellier, though? I'm curious. This game will teach me a lot of geography. Okay, so we are going north as I expected, but it's going through Montpellier. I could even explore Montpellier a little bit and find out what truck dealers there are and things like that. But yeah, it's good to have collected it. Okay. So as you notice, I'm driving mostly with my wheel, which
At the ramp.
thankfully has a lot of buttons. But I also have this macro pad here, which I've also programmed for ETS, where I... wait, I have to go left, okay. Where I have the less common features, like, for example, opening windows and things like that.
Get ready to turn left. Turn left.
What you just saw was my little companion. She's called Little Bandit. Can't show you her now because I don't think there's a way to switch on the cabin light.
Keep right.
It's almost 3 a.m. now. Pity we don't see more of the landscape. Yeah, it's a pretty impressive bridge, actually. And a long one, too. How long till our next rest break? I guess there's another toll booth coming up. 6 hours or so, okay. This time, no hitting signs. I guess that truck over there should guide the way. about you, pal? Going to stay left? Knock yourself out. Yeah, I guess freight tolls are more expensive. But on the other hand, the driving actually pays a lot. I mean, 84,000 to drive from Spain to Austria? Don't mind if I do. And accidents actually, in my opinion, are far too cheap. So if I actually hit someone, it's a few €100, and I think it would be better if they wouldn't increase the financial penalty, but actually, if it costs you. Distracted by my phone. If it cost you time, it would hit much harder. If they'd tell you, yeah, dealing with that accident has cost you 3 hours or so. Because, I mean, if I ram a car or another lorry and cost me €400 out of 84,000, that's not really the deterrent. It should be. "4 a.m. now." It would make things a little bit more realistic, I think, because, yeah, it's not just that I throw a €500 bill out of the window after hitting someone and then drive on. No, it doesn't do anything, actually. Oof. Yeah, okay. I need more than the retarder in this case. What's even going on here? Phantom traffic jam. Okay. €500 won't get you... Yeah, well, it might get you the fix for a small scratch in your paint. But I doubt that getting hit by a truck will be anywhere near that. Yeah. It won't be much less simply getting your side mirror repaired or something. And that's what I like about this game. It's really soothing and relaxing. I love these sunrises. We are well into France now. It has meditative aspects, definitely. I think what is a nice change for me especially is that it's the complete opposite of World of Warcraft. The game doesn't expect anything from me. I can do whatever I want. I can simply drive around, not getting any jobs or something, if I like. Simply explore the country, see the scenery. Or I can go super capitalist and start garages all over the place. Whatever tickles my fancy I can do. And I find that really nice. Especially for someone like me who hasn't much time to play. Where being a completionist simply doesn't work. And from time to time I was really struggling in World of Warcraft because it expected you to do so many things. You need to do these weekly quests and you get to grind reputation with that faction, and you can only continue the main storyline if you have that much reputation with that faction, and you of course need new gear, otherwise you will be shit in the raid. Things like that. It just became far too much for me. I love my guild and I enjoyed the heck doing our raids, but meeting all the requirements the game put in front of me was really hard. And this game is pretty much the opposite. I haven't tried Baldur's Gate yet. I might eventually, but as I said, it's not that I have that much time to spend on gaming anyway. So I think having a game that helps with relaxing, with getting my mind off things, well, I guess a good game, a good role-playing game would do the same. But yeah, I'm for the time being, I'll be happy with ETS2, I guess. Here we go, another toll booth. I think I can simply drive through here. There's no sign overhead. And I think it'll just deduct everything from my account. Oh dear. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for not crashing into me. So 3 more hours until we need a rest break. Which is a pity because we lose most of the day. Most of the daylight, I mean. Yeah, and those rest breaks will cut into my time allowance as well, so we need to be a little bit mindful of our time here. But I still have 42 hours, and so far the whole trip will only take less than 20, so yeah, that's quite a bit of headroom there. Back to cruise control. Let me show you the outside of my truck. Human Please says, whatever cuts the grass. In my case, whoever cuts the grass is mostly my wife, which means I will have to take care of other things, which is one of the reasons why I have little time. Friends? Little time to play. What's going on? Oh, okay. The left lane is getting cut off, which is always a tricky thing. Let me violate all rules of the road and skip ahead. Can you put on your own branding? I don't think so. By default, the game has generic brands anyway, because if I guess there are DLCs with specific brands, but I'm not sure who has to pay for that. If it's the brand, like Schenker Cargo, for example, who pay to have a DLC about them, or if it's the developers that have to pay to use the brand, so there's some kind of brand recognition there. But most of the brands in the game are generic, and I actually installed a mod that replaces most of these textures with well-known brands like IKEA and others. So everything looks a little bit more realistic. But I don't think... yeah, well, you could probably develop a kind of a mod yourself, so you have your own company branding. Or, yeah, I guess that would be the way to go. While my transport company has a name, which is Monospace Logistics. If I get a trailer of my own, for example, I doubt that it'll have any kind of custom branding there. Now you see what I meant with toll booth frequency in France. Is that... yeah, I can use that as a truck, can't I? Wouldn't want to take up car lanes with my truck. Using the phone instruments would be great, yeah. Being able to maybe use it with Discord or something. So, am I going to stay behind that Russian truck that I can't pronounce? Rockmark? Anyone who can read Cyrillic? Let's take another look at our rest. Yep, we'll have to start looking for a rest place. Petrol station or something. Actually, let's use the map for that. To plan ahead a little. So we're going to turn further north through Lyon, passing by opportunities to rest, but up there will be both opportunity to refuel and to rest. So we'll use that. So there will be an exit for a transport company or a customer, we won't take that. Instead, we'll take the next exit that will take us into the station. Okay. And that'll probably fit right into our driving window.
Keep left.
Staying left for Lyon. Yes, they are mandated. Oof. I should pay more attention to the roads. Yes, they are mandated. You need to have rest breaks in real life as well. And in game, it works that way that once you start exceeding your driving time, you'll get fined a few times. And I've never tried it, but if you seriously exceed your driving time, I think the game will basically make you crash. Yeah, something like that. I only read about it, so I think it'll simply tell you, yeah, you fell asleep at the wheel and crashed and lost not only the job, but maybe even your lorry. Which that'll hurt, because I paid almost 200k for that lorry. Yeah, by now I paid over 200k because I upgraded both the engine and the transmission. Okay, now we're passing Lyon, which means it's time to look for the rest station. AMG edition truck engine. Since I have played this game only for a short time, I haven't explored many things. I mean, you can, of course, drive without a trailer, and then you'll really feel the 500 or 600 horsepower. By default, its speed is limited. You can't pass 90 km/h. But I think there are game options where you can switch that off. And so, if you want to, you can drive around with more than 100. Yeah, I mean, these things are supposed to pull many tons of cargo, so without a trailer, this thing really... Actually, I had really a hard time driving around without load, because the machine acted so differently. Turning around corners and accelerating. Now, I'm a little bit worried I'm about to miss my... Yeah, okay, it's going to be the second exit. Running out of fuel as well, so we can actually hit two birds with one stone, which has always struck me as a very brutal turn of phrase. There we go, 500 meters. Nope, that's the wrong exit. That's the first exit that I'm not supposed to take. Sorry. This is my exit. See, that's why I looked at the map earlier. Unfortunately, no. That would also be nifty. Having these staples of rest places and stuff. Okay, that'll be expensive. Now, to get some sleep. And yes, human, please, you're perfectly right. That's the money that's making me money. Which actually I find curious as well, because getting money and expanding your transport business by buying new garages, buying new trucks, and hiring drivers to drive them is pretty easy. There's basically no way of losing in this game, no way of winning either, which is actually a pretty interesting experience. It's really a game that's just about playing the game. How you doing, little bandit? Oof, that was a close one. And it was a police car. Yeah, I need a companion. I think... Okay, they're waiting. Thank you. Oof, are you insane? Oh, that's lovely. You have a cat. I love cats, even though I'm allergic. And actually, that cat looks like our neighbor's cat, which visits us a lot. Making us very happy. Alright, another tall booth. Let's go down to 50. I guess I'll stop. Okay, 16 more hours. Wait, how are we still red in terms of rest? I forgot to rest, didn't I? Oh shit, that's not good. As you can see, I'm starting to get tired. Oh, crap. Over all the talking, I forgot to press enter to actually rest. That's not good. because there won't be much opportunity to rest in time. There would have been one just right before I left the toll booth. I think there was a parking lot, but I was already past that when I realized. Oh, crapula. Let's see. What can we do? I don't love this. Yeah, coffee is one thing that might keep me from crashing, but I guess police would eventually take me off the street anyway. Oh, there's another rest. Thank Thor. And by Thor, I actually mean Pirate Software. Okay, let's get that rest. We'll have to go through here. And that's the first penalty. Will this actually work? It doesn't. But there's a little bit more space. Oh, good. Okay. Did I go past the point where I can? Let's go back a bit. There we go. Now, let's get some rest. That was close. Okay, now it's 7 p.m. 8,000 euro in loans paid back to the bank. Okay. Now, let me think. Let's do a little bit of planning. Nope, didn't mean you. Okay, you're awake. Okay, that's nice. Let's take a look at the map. Now we're going to head east towards Alsace and then Germany. And it's 4:30 here now, I guess. Last time I said, okay, let's drive from Spain to France and wrap it up, and I'll do the same today. I'll drive until we are in Germany, and then I'll wrap things up and go into the weekend. So let's get a few more kilometers down. It'll be another night drive. No, I never played Eve. I would have been interested in it because I'm pretty much a sci-fi lover. And of course, I did enjoy playing Elite back in the day. Back up here. But no, I've never tried Eve. Would have been a nice crossover between sci-fi starships, and role-playing. So, did you play Eve? And what do you think about it? What's X4 actually? Not getting that reference. Ooh, you've been a veteran Eve player then. Yeah, 2006 was when I started playing World of Warcraft. I then took a break after leaving my corporate employment because it was a group of managers at that place that actually got me playing World of Warcraft. So I think I stopped playing in 2009 or 10-ish. And then got back into WoW in 2016 and played until this year, so for another 8 years. Until I got too much fed up with the game. I missed Pandaria actually. I left in the middle of Wrath, I think. And came back to Legion, which was just the right time, because Legion, in my opinion, has been the greatest expansion ever. And it always went down from there. Just checked that I have my headlights on, because that'll get me another fine if I drive at 8 PM without the headlights on, but yeah, that fine would have appeared by now. When I got back into the game with Legion, I actually played through the rest of Wrath. So I kept leveling my previous character, and so I did play through Wrath quite quickly and did Pandaria. I enjoyed most of Mists of Pandaria. Found it a nice change of scenery. I more or less skipped Warlords and then went right into main Legion finally. No, that wasn't what I wanted to hit. I wanted to switch on cruise control. Yeah, and so Legion was great. Oof. But yeah, it went down from there. What actually did come after Legion? Was it Battle for Azeroth? No, it wasn't. Was it? What am I missing? Because Battle for Azeroth and Shadowlands in particular were pretty much shit. Frackburr, good morning to you too. Wishing you a happy Friday. My Friday is already pretty much done. Had a nice office hour stream. Now I'm doing a little bit of Euro Truck Simulator just to wind down. We can actually slow down here a bit because everyone seems to. For some reason. Is it just the incline? Yeah, looks like it. You could have got a new fancy pen. I did not know that you are a pen aficionado. What kind of pens? Fountain pens? Are you more of an analog person? Pen and paper? Oh, sorry about that. For 9 PM, there's quite a bit of traffic on here. A gnome frost mage on PvP servers. I actually started out on a PvP server because that's where my colleagues played, and I did not know about PvP until I got into what's that jungle called? Nope, we're not going to change lanes here. Not necessary, fortunately. Oh, another toll booth. Okay. So let's head down here. You know what I mean, right? The troll jungle. Yeah, I got ganked there a lot. And yeah, so eventually I switched servers. Or realms. So yeah, you are a fountain pen person. That's amazing. To be honest, I'm pretty much a digital guy. I tried getting into notebooks and pens and bullet journaling and things like that. I tried it all. Never stuck. Now I'm doing a little bit of scribbling on my tablets, but most of the time I'm simply typing, and yeah, having a keyboard under my fingers seems to be more appealing to myself. I mean, Angora Crater was just hard overall with all those dinosaurs. Angora Crater is a place where everything is out to kill you. Not only the players. Yeah, T-Rexes. Thunder lizards. And what are the T-Rexes called? Terror or something? Creative writing timesheet entry. Oh yeah, that's very creative writing. That's 100% fiction literature for you. All right, how far to Germany? Are we almost done? This still looks very French. But Metz is already Alsace, I think. As I said, I'm learning a lot of geography here. I was always really bad at geography. I still remember my geography teacher noticing that I wasn't paying attention, and he called me in front of the class and put me in front of a world map and had me point out capitals for countries. Countries where I didn't even know where the country was, let alone the capital. I got quite the dressing down that day. Unfortunately, I haven't really improved since then. So yeah, there's always hope that Euro Truck Simulator will actually teach me where stuff is in Spain, in France, and so on. So, oh, there's a truck next to me. That's a truck next to me! Crap! Oh, that's bad. But hey, we didn't crash. And someone's really nice here. No, they're not. During the day, that would have caused quite the traffic jam. So yeah, I should pay more attention to my navigation system. That would have told me that I'm approaching an exit. Still 12 hours to go. Hope those flowers are really cooled well. Speaking of rest area, okay, 7 more hours until I need to rest. Okay, that's good. Yeah, music is soothing. I mean, of course, I'm trying to fully achieve the cliche here by listening to a country station. But having it in the background like that, it's just nice. I can't even make out the lyrics, but it's a nice background heartbeat. I agree, Human Please, that day in front of the class wasn't really my greatest day, but on the other hand, my teacher was probably right that I should have had much more basic knowledge about geography, at least being able to point out where countries are in Europe, and maybe even some of the more important capitals. So, I mean, I guess the reason was valid, the method wasn't. I did have a hard time not running over stuff myself as well, especially before I had calibrated my mouse when I was still playing with the mouse. But I switched to a more reasonable playstyle quite quickly because, yeah, I wanted to play this game as a simulation, as something that is as realistic as can be expected. So really stopping at junctions and checking traffic and things like that. Not just turning into running traffic. Things like that. And I think that's what makes this game really relaxing in the end.
Keep right, and then exit right.
Alright, I will keep right. Thank you, lady in the can. Oof, that's a fast approaching exit here. Ooh. Strasbourg, so yeah, that's Alsace for us, and which means we're not far from Germany anymore. What does the teleprompter do for me? It's mostly during my normal DevOps streams, because I can actually read chat while looking into the camera. So it's just the best way I can address the audience. And I also use it for things that I actually have to read. For example, if someone redeems the RTFM reward, where they can ask me to read an RFC document or a man page or something like that. And having the teleprompter there is, of course, more fun. Okay, so now we are going on country roads, which means we're not far from the border. Oh yeah, here we are. That's the border. Welcome to Germany. That's German signage right there. County roads are yellow signage, and highways/motorways are blue signage. I think that was only because it was border crossing and petrol station. Otherwise, yeah, feels like simply driving through a dark forest. It's also limited to 60, so that's why it's pinging me all this time. Like it's growing out of the darkness. Yeah. Driving a little bit too fast here. Actually, am I driving downhill? Because I keep accelerating. Yeah, okay, if you're a fire truck, you can obviously go a little bit faster. Even without beacons, I guess. Alright, I think, yeah, it's time to wrap things up, because, to be honest, my behind is starting to hurt from all the sitting. I've been sitting here since 2 o'clock, and so I guess we'll continue our drive in another stream. Not sure about when. I'm not on call over the weekend, which means I might actually enjoy myself outside. But yeah, I'll be back with another live coding stream on Tuesday next week, and not sure when I'm going to continue with another ETS2 stream. I just do those once in a while. So let me go. let me see where this is going to take us. Eventually there should be another motorway, shouldn't there? This stretch of road feels really strange. But there is a motorway sign. Yeah, here's the blue signage, which means we are entering
Turn right.
another motorway. And that's where we're going to
Turn right.
exit the gate. Here we go. Let's go towards Stuttgart. So. Jetzt fahren wir ein bisschen durchs Ländle. But more or less another day. Okay, folks. Ah, my butt is really, really hurting. Everyone, thanks for being here. Thanks for chatting. This was fun. We had a fun office hour, fun ETS stream. The Lummen preparing to change occupation. Not yet. Well, we'll see where it leads me. Maybe I'll eventually say goodbye to all the IT stress and say, yeah, I'm going to get myself a truck and spend some time on the highways. We'll see. But not today. I'll go off into the weekend, and I hope you have a great weekend yourself. Thanks, everyone. I'm really grateful for all the company, and as Human Priest says, yeah, we'll use Claude as our, or maybe the new what is it called, artifacts, to get some money on the side. Folks, have a great weekend, everyone. Until next time, take care.